Hi, in this video I'll be showing you this. It's the Bosch WTH84000GB heat pump condenser dryer. And what I want to do today is to show you around the dryer some of the features and benefits that it offers. Just before I start, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just give us a quick thumbs up. Unlike washing machines, where the depth of the machines can vary a huge amount depending on the capacity of the machine, tumble dryers don't tend to vary a huge amount, but nevertheless I'd always recommend just getting a tape measure, measure the gap that you've got before you buy any tumble dryer, not necessarily this one, just to make sure it will fit in. And on this one, just to go through the dimensions, it is basically 60 centimetres or just under 23.5 inches wide. The height of it, you're looking at 84 centimetres or just over 33 inches. And then the depth, so if you're going right to the back, then if you're looking at the front edge here, then you're looking at 22.5 inches, around 57 centimetres. Or if you want to include the door as well, then you're looking at 64 centimetres or just over 25 inches. I've just zoomed in a little bit so you can see the control panel a little bit easier. The program selector is nice and easy to turn. It doesn't matter which way you turn it. All you do is you select a program, and you can see on the right hand side here that you've got the red LED display. This is quite a common display that Bosch have used. They've used this kind of design for several years, and I'm pleased they've stuck with it because it's pretty easy to read. And what you'll find is that when you change the programs, it will bring up a different time. Now this machine has up to an 8 kilogram capacity, and it uses something called sensor dry, which is why I tend to ignore a lot of the times on here initially. And what sensor dry basically does is it will actually adjust the time of the program depending on the amount of clothes in there, the moisture content, but it's something that you don't need to worry about setting, and it's something personally I really like. I think it should be mandatory on all tumble dryers, not just on heat pump tumble dryers like this. But what you do is, first of all, you select the program that you want, and when you put the clothes in, within the first couple of minutes it will detect the moisture content, and that time will change. So clearly if you only put say 3 or 4 items in, it will make a huge difference to the drying time, whereas if you put a full load of 8 kilograms in. I know some of you are thinking that it looks quite complicated with a lot of the programs, but really it depends on the fabric that you want to dry. First of all, on the cotton side, so on these programs here, where it says the Eco, Iron Dry, Cupboard Dry and Cupboard Dry Plus, those ones you can dry the maximum of 8 kilograms. So that's one of the few programs that you can do that. So if you've got a full load, you've just taken out your washing machine, want to put it in, personally I'd recommend using one of these 4 programs. And this will depend on how dry you want everything. So if you wanted to put everything in and you wanted to make sure it's completely and utterly dry, take it out, put it away in the cupboard straight away, then I'd recommend the Cotton Dry Plus. Then you've got the Cupboard Dry, and you'll notice that it does make a huge difference to the time on here. But with the Iron Dry, that's a good one if you've got things like shirts or blouses or trousers that you want to dry, but you want to make sure they're just slightly damp because you want to take them out and then give them an iron, then that's really the one to select. But all of those 4 programs, and again as you go to the Eco, that's really designed for things like hard wearing fabrics or heat resistant fabrics made of cotton or linen. With these 4 programs you can dry a maximum of 8 kilograms. As you come around to this side, you'll notice that you've got similar options: Iron Dry, Cupboard Dry and Cupboard Dry Plus. But that's really for the easy care and for those that are normal synthetics or blended fabrics. But with this option, then you've only got a maximum of 3.5 kilograms. So it is much lighter. You will notice that the times are a lot shorter on here, but don't think that just because the time is shorter that you can go and put a full 8 kilograms in there, because you won't be able to. So you've got other specialised programs, things like the shirts program. Super Quick 40 is quite a good one. That's just basically a 1 kilogram 40-minute program. Then toward the bottom here, something I really like is the time program Warm 30. Now I know a lot of people like the sensor technology concept, and personally I think it's brilliant. I'm always an advocate, put my teeth back in, I'm always an advocate of it to customers. I think it's great technology because you're not under drying or over drying the clothes. First of all, it'll save you money. Also, it saves you time because you're not having to go to the dryer, see if everything's dry, put them in for another, say, 20 or 30 minutes, and then come back later. But with this one at the bottom, this is the timed program for 30 minutes. So the reason this program's good is it will force the dryer to dry for 30 minutes. It doesn't use any sensor technology. And the reason that can be a good option, I'll give you an example of it. At home, what I tend to do is after I wash things, I do try and put them on an airer to start with. That can save money. Clearly putting them on an airer is free. I'm not having to use electricity to do that. But sometimes what happens is if I leave them a bit too long and if they dry completely, I might just want to put them in the dryer to take some of the creases out. Now, if they've been completely dry, then if you put them into this dryer using a sensor program, any of these, then it will detect that it's dry anyway. And that's why having the 30-minute manual program is a really good option. As I say, you've got some other programs around here, things like the mixed load or the tails, and each of the programs will vary depending on the load size that you can put in. As we move over to the right, you've got a couple of options here. First of all, you've got the drying level. Now, I know this probably sounds a little bit odd to some people. Let's select the iron dry option. So after you've done the program, if it really feels like I suppose everything isn't quite as dry as you'd like, then you can actually increase the time of each program. And all you need to do is just select the drying level. So it goes between 1 and 3. So 0 is as it is. So I'll just give an example at 3 hours 44. If you were to select, say, number 2, then what it would do is it would just increase the duration of the program a little bit. Now that can be really good, I suppose, depending on the ambient temperature that the tumble dryer is sat within. Once you've set it, then that just stays there. So you won't need to select it for each program. So all I'd recommend, once you get the dryer, just see how you get on. I suppose not so much on the iron dry, but a good test would be the cupboard dryer program, because in theory everything should come out completely dry. See how you get on. If it's not quite as dry as you want, just try the drying level option. Next option on here is called finished in. This is actually a time delay option. This is actually when the program will finish, not when it will start, which is always the preferred way. But you can delay it, so you can get it to finish in up to 24 hours. So 24 hours is the maximum, and then when we press it again, it goes back to the standard time of the program. Reduced ironing is a good option. So again, if you're drying things like shirts or blouses, things that can crease easily, just select that. You've also got start and reload at the end here. And clearly, when you put everything in, just press start. The reload, basically what happens, when you put the clothes in, within the first couple of minutes, the sensors will kick in and it will detect the moisture content and the load size of everything in there. If you go and open the door partway through the program, pop something in, say if you've, I don't know, forgotten a shirt, just pop it back in, shut the door, start the program again, the whole program will have to start again. It doesn't carry on from where it was, so that's why I'd always recommend using the reload option, because what that will do is that will actually pause the program, pop your shirt in, shut the door, press start again, and then it'll just continue from where it was before. Being a condenser dryer, there are 2 ways of emptying the water on this. The first one is this, which personally I think is probably the most popular way. When the container is full, so this will get full of water, it can get quite heavy, but all you need to do is just go to a sink, get that emptied, and then come back, and then you can start again. You have got indicators on the front to show you when to empty the water. The other way is using this. This is a cheeky little hose that comes with the dryer, and all you need to do is you just attach this onto the back of the dryer. I'll show you around the back in a moment, but what this allows you to do is to actually avoid having to empty the water, and all of the water that's generated from the moisture within the clothes will actually just go out, and it can go into a drain outlet. Now this, personally, I think is always a good idea. It just saves you having to remember to empty the water, because there's always a times where you do a couple of loads and then it's partway through the program and then it will stop, because what it will do is it will actually stop the program when the water's full. Clearly you don't want it to overflow, but it can be really frustrating. You go away for a couple of hours, come back, then you find it's only halfway through the program. So if you have got a drain outlet, personally I'd always recommend using that. To open the door is nice and easy. You've just got a nice big handle on the left hand side there. As you go inside, you can see, and I'm really pleased that Bosch have stuck with things like metal hinges and metal door catch as well. It's something to try and point out on a lot of the videos, because some of the cheaper manufacturers revert into plastic hinges, and I'll be honest, it doesn't work. These are normally the first things to break, but at least Bosch have stuck with really good quality hinges and door catches. Then you've got the filter in the door here. That's nice and easy to open. All you need to do is just have a look. Personally, I recommend after either every load or every couple of loads, take the fluff or the lint out, because you can find that the performance can make a huge difference depending on how full the filter is. You have got the condenser unit at the bottom, so it's got something called an easy clean filter, and all that does is, there's nothing in there, but you just got the filter in there, so you just need to take out, make sure it's nice and clean. It doesn't have to be done every load, but I'd recommend just keeping an eye on that, because again, you'll find that if you maintain these things, then the actual performance and also the running cost of the appliance will be a lot better. Show you the energy label on the dryer. As you can see, it's an A+ energy rating. These figures are becoming a lot more important at the moment, and the reason I mention that, because here in the UK energy prices have gone through the roof, and a lot of customers are really paying attention to how much things are costing to run. All we're finding is that the initial cost of buying the appliance really is very important, but for some people it's becoming less important, because what they want to know is how much it's actually going to cost to run and to use the appliance, because these are really the figures that you should be looking at. So as you can see, it's an A+ energy rating, on average 270 kilowatt hours per annum to use. Clearly that's going to vary depending on, I suppose, load sizes, your size of the family. So if you've got, say, one person in the house, then it's not going to cost as much to run than if you've got 5 or 6. But again, it's just showing the load, so it's an 8 kilogram. I said to show you around the back of the dryer. There's not a huge amount to talk about, but first of all, you've got the electric connection at the top left here. But really what I wanted to show you was this down here. Now this is the pipe that connects up. So if you wanted to just use the drawer at the top that I showed you to empty the water, leave that pipe where it is. If you don't, so if you do want to use the hose, that's the hose I mentioned earlier, the drain outlet, then all you need to do is just take that pipe off, that just pulls off, pop that on that section there, and then what you do is the pipe there, you just connect on at the bottom, and then you connect that to your drain outlet. So it's really easy to do. It's something you can do yourself. You don't need an engineer to do it. I've not talked a huge amount about the heat pump technology itself, mainly because I've done other videos on those. But all I would say is just make sure, if you're going to buy one of these, then make sure it is kept within a, I suppose, almost like a heated area. Heat pump dryers don't work that well when they're outside. If you've got them, say, in a garage where there's no heat at all, then they will take a lot longer to dry than some of these stated times. But that's all I really say. If you are thinking of buying one of these models, I have provided a link below to show you where to get one at a competitive price. I hope you enjoyed this quick video on the Bosch WTH84000GB heat pump tumble dryer. Please give us a thumbs up on my YouTube video, click subscribe and leave any comments below. I do always ask for comments, whether it's good or bad, about the video. If there's something that either you're not sure about, or if you've got any questions on the dryer, I've got one of these on display at the moment in a showroom, just pop in the comments and I'll get back to you. Also, if you have got one of these, not necessarily that model, but if you've got a Bosch heat pump tumble dryer, let me know what you think about it, because I do always appreciate the feedback. Thanks for watching.